Welcome to Digital Toolbox. Today we're going to go over how to create 4 different types of splines or curves and see the difference between them. So to get started, we're going to create a new document. And in Rhino, I created a 20-foot line. And for those who are following along, you guys don't need to do this. You just need to understand why I did it. So we're going to go to Vector, go to Point, and grab point XYZ. So we're going to need 2, so I'm copy and pasting, and go to Logic, go to Sets, and grab a series. And what I'm doing right now is just creating a grid, or will result in a grid. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a number slider. I'm going to edit the slider from floating points to integers and a value of 20. And then I'm going to input that into C. So you can see now that this Rhino line tells us that it's 20 feet, but the grasshopper points are not actually reaching 20 feet. It's actually 19 feet right now. And all we have to do to fix this is add one more value. So x plus 1 in a one variable expression under logic. And this will give us a span of 20 feet. From here, I can grab another slider or copy and paste this one. And change the value to 10 and input that into the second set of points. This will give us 2 set of points, and then go to curve, go to primitive, and grab line. And this will allow us to create a set of lines between these 2 points. What I want to do next is grab a particular line, any line I want, and then grab a point on that line, any point I want. So to do that, we'll go to Logic, go to List Item, select the number slider, and I'm going to change it to 0. And then from here, what we can do is we can go to Curve, go to Analysis, and evaluate length. We're going to connect that to Curve, select the evaluate length, and input that into L. So from here, I'm going to unpreview these lines. So you can see that I can select any of these lines, and I can select a point along the line. But I have to make sure that I'm clicking false on the boolean for n. This allows us to evaluate the length of the line based on its measurement and not on a unit of 0 to 1. So as soon as we do that, we can evaluate the line. So from here, I'm going to select these 4 points, or 4 buttons, and copy and paste it 4 times. And then I'm going to change the first line to be at 0 and the last line to be the very last one. And we can pick anything in between. Same goes for the value of these curves, or on the curve. You can pick anything you want. The list item values, make sure that you're going from left to right, from smallest to greatest, and top to bottom, as shown here. The way this works is that the way you set these points is how a grasshopper will draw the curve. It will go through the points that you select in the order that you select. So to be sure, we're going to go to Parameters, go to Geometry, and go to Point, and we're going to select the points into this point button, and make sure you're going in the order that you intend to go, such as smallest to greatest, or whatever order that you want, because that's how Grasshopper will draw the lines for you. And just before we get started, I'm going to change these values to be 40, just to have a larger value, or not value, but upper limit to be 40. So from here, we'll see what the different type of curves are between them, or the difference between splines. And there's 4 splines that I'm going to go over today. First one's called curve, second one's called interpolate, third one's called polyarc, and the last one's called polyline. And we're going to go in the reverse order, because we're going to go from easiest to hardest to understand. So the polyline, if we connect it to P line, or the points, it simply just connects points based on purely lines, connecting the dots or line graphs you've seen it before, and I'm going to unpreview these. The next one's called a p-arc or polyarc, and what this does is that it creates arcs between the points. So if I change the values of this, you can see some of the circular arcs being formed between these points. And here I'm going to change the value of y to 40, so we have a bigger grid to work with, and I'm just going to change these points so they move up a little bit. So you can see here, if I wrap it around high enough, that it'll start creating a spiral. So that's what p-arc can enable you to do, or s-curves. So that's the polyarc. And the next one is called the interpolative curve. And this curve just basically does what the polyline does, except instead of straight lines, it creates curves. And there's nothing special about it other than instead of straight lines, it's just curves. The last one I want to go over is called curve. And when I connect it, the first and last point that we picked will be anchors. And you can't really control that, except you can't really control these endpoints except how you connect or how you control them in the list item or the evaluative. And they're just the endpoints of the curve. The two middle points are Bezier handlebars, and it allows you to push or pull in Photoshop or Illustrator. So if you push or pull the curve, you can get different results or different type of curves. And for this type of curve, you need a bigger canvas or a bigger grid to work on, because you might want to push it very far or very small. So to do that, just expand your grid to be longer, and you'll be able to create more curves that way. So those are the difference between the four curves. And if you're wondering how I color-coded these curves in my original definition, it's very simple. You just go to parameters, go to special, go to custom preview, and all you have to do is implement the geometry you want to change the color to, and then go to special and grab a color swatch, connect that to the swatches, right click on the color, and then you can pick RGB values or HSV values. And hopefully you guys learn difference between splines and curves, and hopefully you guys enjoy the videos, and thank you for watching.